We are marrying a couple live on this stage. Actually, we are remarrying them, and you will not believe the reason why. You've heard of wedding disasters, right? We've all heard of that. This one takes the cake. Now, I'm going to paint the picture for you. Imagine packing your dress for your destination wedding, only to find out that half of that dress is missing when you arrive. I know. Imagine your hairdresser being totally hungover from a Beastie Boys concert the night before. Bad? It gets worse. Imagine your eye getting so swollen you can't even see your groom. Worst of all, you know what? Check this out.
I thought that it would just be a smooth sailing.
Hardly. What actually happened on Chris and Indiana's wedding day in 2004 was something of a nightmare.
I woke up and went to put in my contact lenses, and my maid of honor had contact lens disinfectant, not saline solution, and I just grabbed it and my eye sizzled and the contact lens fused to my eye.
And then things just kept getting worse.
My mom took one look at me and said, "I thought you were at the salon." I'm like, I was there for 2 hours. And my hair looked like I'd just gotten out of the shower.
And at the ceremony, things continued to take a downward slide.
During this really quiet part of our wedding, my grandma stands up and says, "I can't handle this." And then my aunt yells, "Sit down," in this demonic voice.
But that wasn't nearly as awkward as what the DJ did next.
He said, "And now it's time for father-daughter dance." And we had specifically said there's not going to be a father-daughter dance. My father had passed away when I was younger. You could have heard a pin drop the minute he announced that.
By then, the newlyweds realized this was not meant to be their dream night. The rice their guests were supposed to throw turned out to be heart-shaped birdseed.
So it was like a billion tiny arrows hitting us. We were getting pounded.
But I really had to make sure that the honeymoon went off without a hitch. We were going to Mexico.
There's a reason why they say don't drink the water.
I had thought that Montezuma's Revenge was kind of just a joke, but it is not a joke, and it made for a few pretty big days.
Chris and Indiana are here today. I can't believe the extent of mess-ups at your wedding. You've now been married for 10 years. Hopefully the marriage is going a little bit better than the wedding day actually did, right?
A little.
Yeah. Was there any point during that day when you thought, let's just stop, call it quits?
No? I think we were pretty happy to get married, so...
I was just like, another thing? Okay, just bring it on. We've got to get through this.
Yeah, we couldn't get everything in the tape piece. The other things happened. TSA, you were traveling by plane to get to your wedding. TSA made you ball up your dress with duct tape. Okay, yeah, I know. You were forced to get ready in a locker room full of sweaty golfers? Mm-hmm. There was no special area for the bride?
No, just a locker room with golfers.
And then at the reception, first your grandma says, "I'm out of here," basically. Mm-hmm. Then at the reception, she catches the bouquet, and then she announces to everyone that she secretly divorced your grandfather a month earlier, and nobody knows.
What a time.
Did you think that you were getting punked? Because that can happen.
Well, I know my grandma, and she was full of antics like that. But, I mean, my wedding day probably wasn't the best place to announce to everyone that she had divorced my grandpa.
Yeah, and then you got sick on the honeymoon, which must have made it miserable for you, Indiana.
I just gave him a space. Luckily, there was a hammock out on our patio, and I just spent a little time out there.
Well, you know what? We wanted to make you guys feel better because your wedding, I've never heard of anything quite so bad. So we went over to BuzzFeed, and we found some pictures of other disastrous weddings. Hopefully, then you can put yours in perspective. So take a look at this. If you feel bad about yours, there's the bride falling off a dock. That's, could be worse. Then there's a bride with a father of the bride is falling over her train. And then the little flower girl falling off the deck. So he's got her hand, so nothing bad happened. So, does that help?
Well, I guess it could have been worse.
Yeah. Well, we wanted to give you the ultimate wedding redo because we feel they deserve it right after everything they went through. So we teamed up with the Knot.com. We teamed up with the Knot.com to make your dreams come true. This is what's going to happen, all right? You're going to get to pick out a dress. All right. You're going to get your hair done by a professional who is not drunk. Okay. And we're going to transform our studio all within this hour. So it'll be this lovely setting. And best of all, yes, the person who will be officiating is our own Everett Bradley. Our band lady will be officiating. Are you really a reverend, Everett?
Well, I'm not really a reverend, but I am ordained to officiate weddings.
So this
I've been doing
will-
it for 10 years now.
Really?
Yeah.
So this will be official in the state of New York.
Oh, it's on.
Oh, it's on. Okay. And you know that Everett plays with Bruce Springsteen. Yes, in the E Street Band. Yeah. So, is it true that the boss calls you Rev Ev?
Actually, the day he found out that I officiated weddings, that evening in the performance, he introduced me as the Reverend Everett Bradley. But it's been since shortened, and some people call me Rev Ev.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to be so much fun. And we couldn't have this redo without some of your family members here. Obviously, your beautiful children, 10 years of marriage, 3 children. Jude, who's age 4, 2-year-old Carolyn, and Lucy, who's 6 months old. They're all here, as well as your Aunt Wanda and your Uncle David. Then they're like a second mom and dad to you. I know they are, Indiana. And I know you haven't seen your best man or maid of honor in a while, so if you don't mind, I'm going to give you the toast today, unless, I don't know. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, oh.
Okay, now I'm gonna have another red swollen eye.
Oh, no. So you have not seen Brooke, your maid of honor, in a while, yeah?
But we don't get together a lot.
Yeah. And you haven't seen Andy in a long time, right?
He hasn't met any of our kids.
Oh, my gosh.
True.
Oh, are you guys excited to be part of the day again?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
What do you remember about that day? What sticks out in your mind?
Oh my gosh. Blur.
A blur.
Yeah.
Like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we are redoing it again. And I know, Andy, you've never met the kids.
Right.
So Uncle and Auntie are going to introduce them to you right now. Okay, David and Wanda, you want to bring the kids over? Let's go, guys. Come on, guys. Here they come. There's Jude and Caroline and little Lucy, too. Hey.
Hey to Mr.
How are you doing? Okay, we're going to regroup. Everybody's going to catch up, and we're going to throw the best wedding ever. They're going to go backstage and get ready for their wedding.